You know that feeling when you get a message that changes everything? I was having my morning coffee when I saw the notification. Family group chat. Grandma Margaret's 80th birthday. Confirmed guest list. I scrolled through the entire list. Third cousins that Grandma doesn't even know? They were there. The drunk uncle who always causes drama? Invited. Me, the granddaughter who spent every Sunday for the past 5 years having lunch with her? My name wasn't there. It wasn't forgotten. It was erased. And the worst part? I knew exactly why. 2 months earlier, I had discovered my parents' dirtiest secret. A secret so rotten that they preferred to erase me from Grandma's life rather than risk me telling the truth at her party. Because Grandma Margaret has no idea who her children really are. She doesn't know that my father's successful company is a facade. She doesn't know that my mother's perfect life on social media is financed with her money. And she definitely doesn't know that my parents have been literally stealing from their own elderly mother for over 5 years. But I found out. And when I confronted my parents, they gave me a choice: stay quiet or disappear. I chose the third option: exposure. This is the story of how I discovered my parents are criminals, and how I turned the biggest humiliation of my life into the best revenge. Let me give you context about who my parents are so you can understand the magnitude of this. My father, Richard, has always been seen as the golden child. Successful businessman, owner of a financial consulting firm, imported car, gated community house, trips to Dubai. My mother, Patricia, is the family influencer. 50 years old, looking 35, always posting about life coaching, abundance mindset, online empowerment courses that cost $3,000. I always thought it was all a bit over the top. But it was their life, right? Who was I to judge? My Grandma Margaret, on the other hand, has always been simpler. She has a comfortable life. My grandfather left some properties when he died 10 years ago, but nothing extravagant. She lives in a big house, but it's old. Drives a 2015 car. Uses the same jewelry she's had for decades. I've always been close to her. Since childhood. While my parents were building their empire, it was Grandma who picked me up from school, taught me to cook, listened to my problems. So when she called me in March, worried, I dropped everything to help her. Honey, do you understand these banking things? I'm getting some strange notifications on the app. I went to her house that afternoon. We sat at the kitchen table with her tablet. Look here, it says my savings account has a very low balance. But it shouldn't. I never touched that money. I looked at the screen. The savings account that should have about $600,000, inheritance from my grandfather, had $38,000. My stomach dropped. Grandma, when was the last time you checked this account? Oh, honey, it's been a while. Your father said it was better not to keep looking, that he was managing the investments for me. That it was too complex. Dad has access to your account? He does. He asked for it a few years ago, said he was going to optimize my returns. I trust him, right? He's my son. I asked to see the complete statement. She didn't know how to access it. My father had set everything up. I used my IT knowledge, I work in information security, and managed to recover her access. What I saw made me nauseous. Transfers. Monthly. Always at the maximum amount allowed without requiring in-person authorization. $15,000 here, $20,000 there. To accounts I didn't recognize at first. I copied the account numbers. Went home. Investigated. One of the accounts belonged to my father's company. Another was a joint account of my parents'. A third was a shell company registered in my mother's name. I dug deeper. Accessed public records. My father's consulting company was bankrupt. It had labor lawsuits, debts to suppliers. It was maintaining a facade at my grandmother's expense. My mother, her empowerment courses, had 3 students. 3. The Instagram with 200,000 followers? Half were bots. Her luxurious life on social media was a life financed with money they were stealing from their own mother. I investigated further. 5 years. 5 years of systematic transfers. Almost $350,000. Money that should have been securing my grandmother's comfortable old age. And there was more. I discovered that my father had made my grandmother sign investment documents that were actually broad power of attorney forms. He had access to everything of hers. Accounts, properties, investments. I gathered all the statements, screenshots, documents, organized everything in a folder, and went to confront my parents. I arrived at their house on a Thursday night. Without warning, I walked in with my folder of evidence under my arm. They were having dinner. Salmon, imported wine, fine china plates. We need to talk. My father barely looked up. Daughter, we're having dinner. Can it wait? I threw the folder on the table. Statements scattered over their salmon. No, it can't. My mother picked up one of the papers. She went pale. Where did you get this? From Grandma's account. The account you've been draining for 5 years. Silence. My father, always controlled, wiped his mouth with a napkin. You don't understand. I don't understand? $350,000. Dad, you stole $350,000 from your own mother. Stole is a strong word. It's the right word. She doesn't know. She thinks the money is invested. She trusts you. My mother tried the emotional approach. Honey, you need to understand. We went through financial difficulties. Difficulties? You post photos in Dubai, the Caribbean, with $20,000 purses. It's an investment in image. My work depends on it. Your work has 3 students. 3. Meanwhile, Grandma is cutting back on medication because she thinks her money is running out. My father stood up. The mask of tranquility fell. Listen here. That money was from my father. It's mine by right. My mother doesn't need that much. It's not yours. It's hers. And you have no right to decide that. I have power of attorney. That you got with lies. You said it was to manage investments, not to steal. My mother started crying. The fake tears she's always used when she needed to manipulate someone. You're going to destroy this family. Is that what you want? Me? I'm going to destroy it? You're stealing from Grandma. My father approached. His voice low, dangerous. You're going to do the following. You're going to forget you saw this. You're going to delete these copies. And you're going to move on with your life. Or you'll regret it. Are you threatening me? I'm warning you. If you tell my mother this, she'll have a breakdown. She's elderly, has a weak heart, knowing that her own son, this could kill her. Do you want that on your conscience? Don't put that on me. You did this. My mother joined him. And no one will believe you. It's us 3 against you. We'll say you're lying, that you have mental problems. We've already mentioned to the family that you've been stressed, unstable. I froze. You're already laying the groundwork. We're protecting you from yourself, my father said. You're young, impulsive. You don't understand the complexities of adult life. Complexities? This is a crime. Prove it. Good luck getting access to the accounts again. I've already changed all the passwords. And that power of attorney. Totally legal. Signed and notarized. I realized I was in a trap. They had legally protected themselves. And worse, they were right about one thing. Telling Grandma could actually destroy her. So that's it? You're going to keep stealing from her. We're going to keep managing her resources. And you're going to stay quiet. Unless you want to be cut from the family. I don't care. Don't you? My father smiled. Cruelly. Your grandmother's 80th birthday party is being organized. Think you'll be invited if you keep this up? You'll lose access to her. Completely. We'll make sure of it. You can't. We can. And we will. The choice is yours. Stay quiet and remain the beloved granddaughter. Or open your mouth and never see your grandmother again. I left there shaking with rage. I spent a week trying to decide what to do. I went to lawyers. They all said the same thing. With the legal power of attorney, it would be difficult to prove bad faith. It would take years in court. And Grandma would have to be the plaintiff, which meant telling her everything. I tried contacting Grandma. My father had blocked it, changed her phone number, told her the old cell phone had a virus and that a new one was safer, which he managed. I tried going to her house. He was there. Didn't let me in. My mother doesn't want to see you right now. You're too aggressive lately. And then came the party announcement. Big event. Fancy club. Guest list being finalized. I sent a message in the family group. I want to confirm my attendance at Grandma's party. My father's response publicly. Unfortunately, due to your recent behavior and by her decision, we think it's best you don't attend. We don't want drama at the party. I tried calling Grandma on the new number. She didn't answer. I later discovered that my father had put my number on the blocked list. They erased me. Completely. And Grandma probably didn't even know. I spent 3 days in shock. Then, clarity came. If I couldn't stop my parents legally, and if I couldn't tell Grandma without risking killing her with grief, there was a third option. Public exposure. But in a way that would protect Grandma. I called my fiancé, Daniel. Told him everything. He was horrified but said, "Then let's make noise. The right way." We started planning. Their party would be on a Saturday, at 7 p.m., at the fanciest club in town. Pompous party, professional photographer, live band. 300 guests. The whole family. My parents' influential friends. Local high society. Our party would be on the same day. Same time. At our newly purchased oceanfront villa. But it wouldn't just be a party. It would be an operation. First step. Ensure Grandma came to our party, not theirs. Daniel, who works in tech, had a brilliant idea. We created a fake profile of a social worker who contacted Grandma about a special program for seniors. We scheduled an interview at our villa exactly when the other party would start. Grandma, always helpful and interested in assisting, accepted. My father didn't suspect because the message came from a professional number during business hours days before. Second step, the right guests. I didn't invite the family, but I invited all the people my parents had excluded from the official party. Grandma's humble neighbor that my parents think is classless. Her old friends who don't have social status. Distant cousins who aren't important. The church people that my parents despise. And most importantly, I invited a lawyer specializing in financial abuse of the elderly, and a forensic accountant, and a real social worker. Third step, documentation. I organized all the evidence of the thefts, but not in raw form. I created an elegant, visual, easy-to-understand presentation. Timeline. Charts showing the draining of accounts. Comparison between what Grandma should have and what she actually has. And I included photos. Photos of my parents' expensive trips. Luxury purchases. The new car. Everything dated, with estimated values. showing exactly where Grandma's money was being spent. Fourth step, the party itself. I spent $100,000. Every cent of my hard-earned money. Beautiful but elegant decoration. Top quality food. Not from the expensive caterer my parents hired, but from the home-style restaurant Grandma loves. Live music. The classics she adores, not the generic band from the other party. And in the center of the deck, I prepared a surprise. A video. Testimonials from all the people who truly love Grandma. Simple people. Sincere. Talking about how she changed their lives with small acts of kindness over the years. At the end of the video, I would appear and tell the truth, but in a way that would protect her. Fifth step. Support team. Doctor on standby, in case Grandma really felt ill upon discovering. Ambulance ready. Lawyer ready to guide her. Social worker for emotional support. I was prepared for everything. On the afternoon of the party, at 6 p.m., Grandma arrived at the villa. Confused, looking for the supposed social worker. I appeared at the door. Grandma. She was speechless. Honey. What? You live here? I didn't know. But I have a meeting. The meeting is with me, Grandma. Or rather, it's your birthday party. The garden lights came on. Music started playing. People emerged from the shadows, smiling. Happy birthday, Margaret. They were all the people she hadn't seen in ages. The real people in her life. She started crying. I don't understand. Isn't the party at the club? Your father said, there are 2 parties today, Grandma. Dad's party and your party. The real party. And you get to choose which one you want to stay at. She looked around, saw her friends hugging her, felt the genuine love, looked at the ocean, at the sunset beginning to paint the sky. I'm staying here. The party was magical for 2 hours. Grandma laughed, danced, was alive in a way I hadn't seen in years. Meanwhile, my phone wouldn't stop. Furious messages from my parents. Where is my mother? The party started. Where's the birthday girl? You're going to pay for this. At 9 p.m., when the sunset was at its peak, I asked everyone for attention. It was time. Grandma, there's something I need to show you. And I know it's going to hurt. But you deserve to know the truth. She got serious. Truth about what? On the screen we set up, I started the presentation. Slowly, carefully. First, I showed her accounts. How much she should have. Grandma, do you know how much is in your savings? Your father said I have about $600,000 invested. You have $38,000. Silence. I showed the statements, the transfers, month by month, year by year. She went pale. This must be a mistake. It's not a mistake, Grandma. I showed the destination accounts, my father's bankrupt company, my mother's luxury purchases. I showed the photos. Dubai, Caribbean, expensive purses, new cars. While you were cutting back on medication, they were traveling with your money. She started trembling. The doctor I hired approached, measured her blood pressure. Stable, but we needed to be careful. How much? Grandma asked with a broken voice. How much did they take? $350,000. Over 5 years. She put her hand on her chest, closed her eyes. For a moment, I thought she would faint. But then she opened her eyes. And there wasn't pain in them. There was fury. My son stole from me? Yes. And your mother knew? She actively participated. Grandma looked at the people around, her true friends, then looked at me. Why didn't you tell me before? Because they threatened me. Said they'd block me from you completely if I told. And said the news could kill you from grief. I was scared. And now? Now I realized you're stronger than they think. And that you deserve to decide what to do with this information. That's when my parents arrived. They invaded the party like a hurricane. My father red with rage, my mother with murderous eyes. "Mom, what are you doing here?" The party. Grandma stood up. For the first time in my life, I saw her look at her own son with absolute contempt. "You stole from me." My father froze. "It wasn't stealing, Mom, I was managing. $350,000. You drained my accounts, while I thought I didn't have money to replace my old car." "Mom, you don't need that much money. You don't decide that. It was my money. From my husband. From my life of work." My mother tried the victimization route. "Mom, we went through difficulties. We needed difficulties." Grandma pointed at my mother. "You post photos with a $20,000 purse, with $5,000 heels, while I buy generic medication because I think I'm broke. That's investment in personal brand, with my money." The lawyer I invited approached. "Mrs. Margaret, I specialize in financial abuse of the elderly. With your permission, I'd like to guide you about your rights." My father looked at the lawyer, then at me. Realized it wasn't just a party. It was an operation. You planned all this?" He was between shock and sick admiration. "I did. Because unlike you, I truly love Grandma." "We'll sue you for defamation." "With what money? Your company is bankrupt." "Actually." I looked at Grandma. "Grandma, those power of attorney documents you signed? The lawyer can revoke them now. Tonight. And block any access they have to your accounts." My father realized he was losing control. "Mom, you won't do this. I'm your son." Grandma looked at him with deep sadness. "You were my son. Until you stole from me. I built my life. I deserved that money." "You deserved nothing that was mine. I worked 40 years to have this security. And you threw it all away to finance a fake life." She turned to the lawyer. "What do I need to do?" The next 30 minutes were a blur. The lawyer worked quickly. Calls, documents, digital signatures. Right there at the party, Grandma revoked all power of attorney, blocked access, changed passwords, regained control of her own financial life. My parents tried everything. Pleas, threats, emotional blackmail. Nothing worked. When they realized they had lost, my father played the final card. "You'll be alone. You'll grow old alone. No one will take care of you." Grandma looked around. At the 80 people who came to truly celebrate her. At me, who risked everything to protect her. Alone? I'm surrounded by people who truly love me. You're the one who's alone now. Because bought love isn't love. They left. Furious. Empty. The lawyer explained that Grandma could sue for embezzlement. That she would probably recover part of the money. That it would take time, but there were good chances. Grandma listened to everything, then said something that surprised me. "I don't want the money back. I want them to learn. I want them to feel what it's like to lose everything to greed." And she decided. She would cut my parents from the inheritance. Completely. She would donate half of what remained to charity. The other half she would divide among the grandchildren who really cared about her. "Your father will have to work for real for the first time in his life. And your mother will have to sell those expensive purses. I think that's fair." The party continued until midnight. When it ended, Grandma hugged me tight. Thank you for having the courage to tell me. I know it was difficult. I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner. You protected me the way you could. And when you saw I was strong enough, you gave me the truth. It was perfect. 3 months later, my parents lost the house, the car, everything. The company officially went bankrupt. My mother's Instagram became a joke. People found out about the scam. They tried to get close to Grandma again. She refused. Maybe in a few years, when they learn humility. Grandma, on the other hand, is living better than ever. With the money that remained, she travels, enjoys life, does what she wants, and sees me every week. So yes, they banned me from my grandmother's 80th birthday party. And yes, I spent $100,000 on a revenge party. But you know what I gained? I got my grandmother back. I saved her from spending her last years in poverty while her children lived at her expense. And I exposed a truth that needed to come to light. Sometimes, doing the right thing hurts, costs money, makes you the villain of the story for some people. But in the end, when you look into the eyes of someone you love and see gratitude, it's worth every penny, worth every tear. It's worth fighting for who really matters.